Hello, welcome to another Developer Diary. In this one I'd like to talk about Silent Hill Downpour. Silent Hill Downpour is interesting because it's not very good, and when playing it I was like, man, this game's not very good. Um, but it seemed a little strange that I came to the conclusion that the game's not very good because, like, on the surface, it seems like it could be pretty good. The graphics are good, powered by Unreal. It looks better than Homecoming. It has a pretty decent story and premise. Definitely at the beginning I was interested in seeing how that would progress. But really the game isn't scary at all. It doesn't have that same atmosphere. And I mean, there's other game design things that maybe didn't work out so well. But I think that the main thing that stands out to me as not working is the audio. So I don't know if it's the only one, but it was not Akira Yamaoka, I think that's right, did not work on that game, and I think it shows. You'll notice with Neverending Nightmares and now with Devastated Dreams, the audio, I think, is the real selling point for the horror. It really builds out the atmosphere, and I haven't tried it, but it'd be interesting to turn down the music volume or something, or turn off all the audio, and then, I don't know, play, Smiley, Happy, Shiny Happy People by REM or something, and then I think, any horror game, even your favorite horror game, is just totally ruined, right? Like, the atmosphere isn't there, the music gets you in that mood, and bad sound design or like, lack of audio, I think, can take you out of that. And I mean, I think silence can work in horror, but I mean, like, when I was playing, once I realized that the audio was really stopping me from getting into the atmosphere of the game, like, I wasn't really invested. I didn't feel like, I was in a horrific space. I mean, even though they have some of the fog, I mean, it looks very Silent Hill. It didn't feel that way. And so when listening to the audio, there's not a lot of music, and then when there is, it's just sort of like really light stuff. And I think one of the impressive things, and one of the things we've sort of done similar to Silent Hill, is that there's very sort of full in-your-face music with Silent Hill, and I think that really works. It really makes the atmosphere more oppressive. But Downpour just totally did not have that, and it didn't. It really sort of ruined the horror. I wouldn't say it was scary at all. I wasn't, invested. It didn't feel like Silent Hill, which, I mean, I knew the game wasn't, didn't have very good reviews, but, I was just, I've played all the other Silent Hill games, although I haven't finished Book of Memories and probably won't, but I don't know if that really counts as a Silent Hill game. But I mean, I've played all the rest, and I'm like, I just want more. I want more Silent Hill. I want to be in the town of Silent Hill again, and so I'm like, whatever, Downpour, don't care. I'm sure I'll enjoy returning home. No, not really. But returning to Silent Hill. But I just didn't feel it at all, and I think that's really the audio, and I think that's something very interesting, because if you look at Silent Hill, and it's, the Team Silent did the first, I guess, 4, and then, I think that after that they got a bit less interesting, but they still felt like Silent Hill because Akira Yamaoka was still doing audio, I think, through Shattered Memories, and I think he was even producer for some of the later ones. So I mean, it's really interesting. I mean, to think that the person that made Silent Hill was the musician, audio designer, because I don't think that's something you can say for a lot of games. I mean, obviously everyone else was very talented too, but I mean, like, I'm just saying that no Akira Yamaoka, and then it doesn't even feel like Silent Hill at all. But let me speak about the actual game, and the actual game is not great, and I think it mechanically it feels pretty good. There aren't any major complaints with how the game plays. I mean, other than their big new thing is in the other world is this weird void that chases you, and I didn't think that was scary, and it sort of ruined my enjoyment of the other world, because, like, with the other world, you normally don't know what weird monstrosity lurks around the other corner, but at this point, right, like, you just run like heck and then usually get lost and eaten because the path is totally confusing by the void. So I wasn't a fan of that, but, I mean, the general, like, combat and everything, seemed pretty decent. The one thing is that, like, the game is structured very strangely, because it's basically like an open world with a bunch of side quests. And so I was following a walkthrough and I did all the side quests, but the side quests basically have nothing to do with the core game. They just are like little stories or little weird things that take place in Silent Hill. None of them are particularly interesting. There is one with ribbons that's kind of dark and kind of emotional, if you know what I'm talking about. But otherwise, they're really not much to write home about. But, like, the thing that I couldn't understand is why they took the game in that direction, because when I was playing all these side quests, I'm just thinking, like, how does this even make sense for the character? Like, you're in Silent Hill, you want to escape from it, it's terrible and awful, and you find some weird clue and you're like, let me follow up on this, like, and then, of course, like, the rewards are, you get, like, a gun, except for you can only carry, like, 2 weapons, so usually you have to drop that gun, or, I don't know. So, I mean, it really was strange. A strange choice, because at least to me, I felt like the actual amount of content in terms of, like, regular campaign stuff, the other world, it was the game felt light on that stuff, the scary stuff, the meat of Silent Hill. But they did, like, a huge amount, well, I mean, I guess maybe not a huge, but they did a significant amount of these side quest content, which is not free for development time, and certainly when you have sort of more of an open world structured game, although it is a little inconvenient to get around Silent Hill, and I got lost. They had this weird subway thing that was confusing. It was a shortcut, but it was a confusing one. But, like, I mean, it's easier to pad playtime, because a lot of it is spent just walking around Silent Hill. But, like, I feel like the time could be better spent, making some creepy stuff in the main campaign. And I mean, I guess, like, they could maybe make whole new levels versus the amount of, side quest work they put into, but, maybe there would be more things to do on the campaign, a couple used some of the puzzles as more like critical path stuff, although the puzzles for the side quest were all pretty obscure, and you had to find items randomly strewn about the map. Well, not always, but oftentimes it was, required navigating the map, and I never really got the hang of it. So, I mean, all in all, it was a disappointing game, and, well, I guess, ignoring Book of Memories, it's the most recent entry into the Silent Hill franchise. And, given the cancellation of Silent Hills, it's the series is sort of ending on a sour note, if you don't include the PT demo. So I don't know, I mean, it's weird for me to say, like, I just totally don't recommend playing it at all, because I think oftentimes you can find some merits, or something you can learn from a game, but, I mean, I don't know, I don't think the developers did a particularly bad job in creating a game, but it's just, not a very scary one, not a very good Silent Hill game. So, thanks for watching.